Hell yeah.
Now that I think about it, there haven't been any outstanding Atlanta Hawks teams ever, point blank. There was some success through Al Horford, Josh Smith and John Johnson era in the late 2000s, some a couple of years later with Jeff Teague, Paul Millsap and the same Horford. Late 90s with the Kemba and Steve Smith balling out, possibly having their best years while taking the team to new highs. And of course the late 80s with Dominique Wilkins being a beast, going through defenses and rocking the rims. Hawks have been based in Atlanta since the 1968-1969 season. Nice. Have been to the NBA Conference Finals once with the 2014-2015 team, when they had 4 All-Stars with Kyle Korver replacing Dwayne Wade. One of 4 times when a team has had that many in one All-Star game. But they had no chance, swept against LeBron's Cavs. This was the closest to having at least an appearance in the finals over the 50-year Atlanta Hawks existence. But this offseason's work from Travis Schlenk has rocketed the team to a championship contender position. When the last season ended, it was the second for Trae Young, third for John Collins, and there was a visible plan with rookies Kevin Huerter, Cam Reddish and DeAndre Hunter. Looked like the team that's gonna build slowly but surely, replicating the Warriors with the trajectory and the type of team they were looking to make in the end. Trae is Curry 2.0, Huerter is Clay, Cam and Hunter, a mix of wings that Warriors had during the championship runs, Collins, better than any Warriors big since Andris Biedrin's golden times. Before the last season, they were looked at as a bottom to hopefully middle tier team in the NBA. If all the cards tied just right, they could squeeze out 10th to 11th seed in the usually weak bottom of the Eastern Conference. But their roster was just too inexperienced. Most of the players had been in the league for 3 or fewer seasons, and quirks of the league they had to learn to become what the potential showed. But it would still take at least 2 or 3 more years being in the lottery and working their positions from the ground up. But the rumbles about Trae Young starting to get impatient and wanting to win and have success in the league most likely made Hawks management jump out of their chairs and get on the calls to make the team competitive. And oh boy, they did some damage this so-called off-season. First was the draft, November 18th. Atlanta had the 6th pick, and looking at their team at that moment, they could have used it for a shooter or anyone who could defend. There weren't any great shooters around that pick. Some players that are sort of shooters are projected in the late lottery or even lower, so it wouldn't have been the smartest move for them to reach that far. They chose the other viable option, defense. With Onyeka Okongwu, who can surely defend, 2.7 blocks and 1.2 steals a game in college, stays active on the floor on both ends, and this could help with the somewhat lack of size or defensive skill that Atlanta's backcourt depicts. At scoring, he ain't too bad either. 16 points on 62% shooting, and in the future he can certainly stretch his range behind the arc. Great pick with a high floor and good enough ceiling. For a 20-year-old, he has as close to an NBA-ready body as it gets for such a young player, and Hawks can settle Onyeka behind John Collins and Clint Capella to develop and learn from acceptable bigs. Collins can show the ropes how to be a versatile big. Capella can share the knowledge he compiled in the unusual Houston playstyle. The total role players Solomon Hill and Tony Snell. I can't see them getting regular minutes on the floor. They will stay at the back end of the roster to collect garbage minutes and lead the rooks or other young guys. But you can always depend on these guys. Solomon is a master at standing up for others and teaching the little things. Tony will show with a work ethic, to not get ready but always stay ready. Defense and shooting will be seen from Snell as usual, except moments when he's lost on the floor. Chris Dunn for $10 million in 2 years was a cheap pickup and a double down for defense as an off-season priority. 2 steals per game, 3.1 defensive box plus minus, the second best in the league. You cannot want more strictly from the defensive end. With his long arms and defensive mobility, he intimidates everyone who tries to go past him. The offense still needs some progress, but he wasn't signed for it. and Atlanta has enough of scoring. His minutes will be neatly stacked to hide both Trae Young's and some Rajon Rondo's defensive mistakes, around 20 minutes a game to get those 2 steals, and he will be more than his money worth.
And look who's joining us. It's
The big signing was Italian maestro Danilo Gallinari, a veteran who hopefully will solidify this team and raise the floor to ensure a playoff spot at the very least. 12 years in the NBA, some in the middle was injured. It was even getting concerning if Danilo will ever be an impact player after numerous ankle, hand and knee injuries, or just a resemblance of himself. The last 2 years showed that first, he can stay on the floor, second, he can produce. Gallinari did both better than most expected, even knocking at the All-Star game door. Now he had the opportunity to sign his second big career contract with Atlanta for 3 years, $61 million. With him being already 32, there is a chance that those health problems will come glooming back. On the other hand, Atlanta had the money to spend, and as I stated before, as a small market team they quite frankly have to grab what they can. What is the reason for the cap space if you don't use it, right? But if we look past that, Danilo has been a reliable source of offense for all his career, can play as 4 most of the time, can dabble as 3 or 5 if needed. Just imagine, 6'10", shoots over 40% from the 3-point line, knows how to use his body, has a clutch gene to sink those daggers, can pass and handle for his size. Kevin Durant? Sorry, no. But the next best thing, Danilo the Rooster Gallinari. My favorite move that Atlanta could have done and did. They signed Rajon Rondo to replace Vince Carter as a vet who gives the knowledge that only a couple of modern day NBA players can give. Rajon is that, but to the extreme. By many called the smartest player on the court, knows the other team's plays by heart, knows the other team's tendencies by body language, knows how to shut them out and open them up when it's necessary. Runs the team's offense flawlessly and will be a glue that sticks together Atlanta's loosened parts. Shooting is still in progress at 34, and his regular season play is taken straight from the open runs in summer, but we know that for the most part the veteran is taken as a playoff Rondo to show how it gets down when it truly matters. After a bumpy road in November to get to Atlanta, finally, Bogdan Bogdanovic was locked down for 4 years, $72 million on November 24th. Trade with Bucks disastrously fell through, and Hawks were quick to grab him. Oh, and Sacramento could have matched this offer, but they didn't. Not the first mistake Kings have done in this decade. Originally drafted in 2014 with the 27th pick, rights to him Phoenix Suns traded to Sacramento Kings, and Bogdan came to the league only 3 years after the draft. Then, as a 24-year-old, he came to the USA to finally show what's in the bag. And that bag is full. From the first moments, Bogdan verified himself as a scoring threat coming off the bench with a great efficiency and overall capabilities. There aren't any absolute flaws in his game, he can do it all, but Sacramento didn't dare to give the chance to Bogdan over Buddy Hield. Now they have lost Bogdan and are worrying about Buddy's future, cause it doesn't look like he wants to be there for much longer. Bogdan had expressed that he wants to have a bigger role, cause in Sacramento he averaged less than 30 minutes a game over 3 years. If he was given more than that, he could clearly show up. Now in Atlanta, Bogdanovic will be a starter, in a bigger role on offense and with teammates that look up to him. Trae Young will still be the leader and the first option on offense. After that, it's between Gallinari and Bogdanovic. And with Gallinari starting the season off the bench, looks like Bogdan is the Robin to Trae's Batman for the near future. In Sacramento, he was maybe the 4th option, while outperforming some that were in front of him in the pecking order. Crazy, right? As skimpy as the East might seem year after year, the top teams are always sharp as a tack. 1 through 6 is mostly unchanged for the last couple of seasons, with Boston, Philly, Toronto, Bucks, Pacers, Heat always being there. Other teams come and go. Upcoming season, Brooklyn Nets will stir the pot, Atlanta is coming right behind them, These are the 8 teams that will take up all playoff spots. And looking at the force that Atlanta has accumulated, East might have the next beast ready to take them all down. Feel free to give your thoughts in the comment section about where Atlanta will land at the end of the regular season.